Hello everyone, this is Kyle from Teacher's Teacher, and in this video we are going through just the basic navigation of how to use Google Drive. So I'm already logged into my Google account, and I'm going to go up to this waffle icon here, and then I'm going to find the Google app where it says Drive, and I'm going to go ahead and click that to go ahead and access my Drive. Now I know you read a little bit about this on the page, but this Google Drive and this kind of cloud storage system is really just a way for me to store all of my files and all of my document types, and these are going to be saved in a server that Google runs and operates and controls. And in that way, you know, if anything happens to my computer, all of my data is safe and stored within their specific server, so I can access it whenever I need to from really any device that I can. I want to go over some of the basic navigation within this system, and I think a very important place to start is going to be this sidebar over here to the left. So now automatically I clicked Drive, and I'm going to be looking at my specific drive, which is up here at the top. And these are technically all the files that I own, and you can actually see in here that it says who the owner of each specific file is. Currently right now, everything that I have in here are files that I have created myself, so I actually own all of these, and these are not shared with me in any way. Now, this next tab is that you can also very easily and quickly share documents with other teachers, other people that you're working with. And then if anybody shares anything with you, that will be found in this tab that is called Shared with Me. So I have one folder that I actually shared from a different Google account for these videos that I'm making, and I do not own this folder on this new account that I created, so this is just Shared with Me. Now what I actually can do with this though, if I want to access this in my drive over here, is that I can right click this folder, and then I can hit add to my drive. So if I click add to my drive, really what that does is if I go back over to my drive right here, you'll see that this new folder was added to my specific drive, and you can technically see that now I am not the owner of that file. It doesn't say me, right? It says my other account. So if that person, so if somebody shares something with you and you add it to your drive, you technically do not own it. Really what you are doing is just putting in your drive so you have easy access to it. And if that file or folder or whatever it is ever gets deleted, if that person who owns that deletes it, then it will also be deleted from your drive, because technically you do not own it, but it's just a way to easily navigate things that you use all the time. So we have these other tabs over here for recent things that you've looked at. If you have a whole bunch of different files, you just want to take a look at the things that you've worked on recently, that's great. This start button is also a really good way to navigate things. So if I go to my drive and I have a specific file that I use all the time, I can right click that. I can add to starred right here. So I can click that, and then you see a little star pop up. And then if you go to my starred section, it's just an easy way to navigate, to kind of filter and navigate to documents that you use all the time. There's 3 documents that you always are going back to. I would just, put a star on them, and then you can very easily find those 3 things, and you can star folders as well. And then trash is just anything that you have deleted, and then if you delete it from the trash bin, it'll kind of be deleted permanently. So that's kind of the sidebar that we have going on here. It's pretty simple to use, and I think it's really handy. Now next, I want to talk down here about the storage. So again, I created this account not too long ago for this class, and if you create a free Google account, you automatically get 15 gigabytes of storage. Now, you can see in my drive that I have a whole bunch of things in my drive already, but it says that I'm using 0 bytes of storage. Now, why is that? How come I have, technically nothing in here even though I have files? Now, the really awesome thing about Google is that if you are using Google, any type of Google document, so that would be a Google presentation, a Google Sheet, a Google Doc, anything that you can create that is made through Google, you'll see that over here that the file size actually doesn't count towards anything. So they actually do not take into account any of the size for that. So you can make 1 million Google documents, 1 million Google Sheets, 1 million slide presentations, and none of that will count towards your storage. Now, what will count towards your storage if you start uploading videos to this, if you start uploading pictures into this to save them to the cloud, if you start uploading Microsoft documents like a Microsoft Word document or a PowerPoint document, anything that isn't Google at that point, it'll actually count towards your storage. But I think it's really awesome that you can make all of these different files that are Google versions, and it doesn't really count towards your storage, which is pretty great. Now, the nice thing about Google is that, it started off being a search engine. So if you have all these different documents in your drive, and if you're somebody who, doesn't like to label things correctly, or not really correctly, but specifically, or you don't like to kind of put things in folders and organize things, and you just like to search for things, the search engine here that Google has created for your specific drive is actually really, really powerful. Now you can search with a couple different ways. So you can just type in the any type of name or text that a document has, and things will pop up. So you can see I just typed in the word online, and I have this document right here called online presentation, which is a Google presentation. And then I have this performance exam task for task number 1, and that just has the word online in it. So it's kind of filtering through what I have, and I can click and open these documents if I need to. Now, if I don't really remember the name, and I just remember that, I have this type of document, and I know it's a sheet, and it's a Google sheet. So what I can do is I can just type in the word sheet, and that's kind of indicated by this green icon. So like any Google Sheets that I have created, all of them will kind of auto pop up, and then I can filter them that way. Now, if you want to get even more into searching, if you have just so many documents, if it's not effective just to search with this, you can actually go into some advanced search options. You can click this arrow over here. Now you can click, what kind of document type am I searching for? So I'm searching for a document that I made, and then who owns it. It's owned by me, it's not owned by me, or it's owned by a specific person that I know. And then if I, have an idea of where the location is, but then I can add in some terms here to do some very specific searches, and then that should pop up, so I can kind of find my documents very easily. Now, the next thing I want to look at with the navigation is just kind of a view setting, which I think is pretty important depending on how you like to view your files. So right now I have this seen in a list view, so like all of these folders that I have and the specific other applications that I have that aren't folders, they're all just kind of viewed in a list. So if I double click on a folder, you'll see that there's more folders embedded in folders. All those documents are there for me to view. Now if I want to change that, I can actually go up here and I can click this grid view button. And then what that does is it actually separates the folders that I have created from the actual documents that I have created. So I have the folders up at the top, and then I have the files down here, and then it usually gives you some kind of picture representation of what that file actually is. And then you can kind of scroll through that. And that is really just a preference. Now the last thing that I want to look at really quickly is in the settings. And I know that, and I'm going to turn this back to list view because this is the view that I prefer. And I know that, some people are a little bit, cautious and concerned about maybe converting to the cloud because, technically all this stuff isn't really downloaded on your computer. It's just kind of saved in a data center that Google owns. But what you actually can do, especially if you're working on a Windows PC, is you can go up to the settings button over here, and then you can actually back this up to a Windows computer. So technically what that means, if you click on this, and it'll kind of bring you to another tab, and you can hit backup and sync. So all of your files within your drive will then actually sync and back up with your computer and be saved on your personal drive on your computer. So if you're somebody who works offline and you want to have those files, or you just want to have a system to back things up just in case, what's really safe about this at that point then is that you have it backed up to your computer and Google has it backed up on their servers. So it's kind of two different spots to make sure that all your data is safe and secure. And then if you're working with a Chromebook, or you want really another way just to work offline, if you go into the settings tab here, so you click the gear at the top, you go into settings, and then there actually is an option for offline use, and you can kind of sync this up, and this is actually already synced to my school account, but you can actually sync that up to where all the files that you have on your drive can be accessible to you, and you can actually type in and edit them and open them up even if you're offline. So it's very, very handy. If you're traveling somewhere, you want to get some work done, but hey, everything's in the cloud and I don't have internet access. So, how does that work? There's a couple different ways that you can actually access that information. So thanks so much for sticking around for this video, and I will see you for the next one.